Well, it was very impressive, Skip. And I think the thing that basketball and baseball have that football doesn't have, Skip, like if you have a bad game, you play bad, and you make a mistake, you normally have to wait, what, Skip? A week. You know, you play Sunday, you got to wait. And if you're lucky, you get an opportunity to play that Thursday. But in basketball or baseball, you have a bad outing, you can come back the next night and make amends for what just transpired the day before. And I think Damian Lillard did that. Skip, he knew he could ill afford to lose this game. Sixers were already without Ben Simmons. They had lost Joel Embiid at the end of the first quarter. So you mean to tell me a Sixers team with no Embiid, with no Ben Simmons, your two all-star, your two all-NBA players, and the Trailblazers that are on life support, fighting for their lives, lose to them? Dame says, not on my watch. I let one of these things go yesterday. But let me show you what I'm really, really about. Skip, Dame is a superstar. I believe he's a top 10 player. And no matter how you slice it, 6 foot tall, and he can do it all. He can shoot, he can get to the basket, he got tremendous bounce. And Skip, I was shocked as anybody that he missed those free throws. Because I'm thinking to myself, oh, Dame, I know Dame, he high 80%, maybe even 90% free throw shooter. At worst case scenario, he about to get him a lead. And then he missed the first one. I'm like, dang, okay. Man, I ain't worried about this thing. This thing will probably go overtime. Because Dame got this one. And doink, it happens. So you see what happens? It ain't just LeBron James, it's Skip, baby. Because what had transpired since the last dance and the advent of the edit button, Skip Bayless and and Michael Jordan apologists make people seem...
Apologies?
Yes, let me finish.
The whole world thinks he's the greatest to ever play. He doesn't need any apologies.
Yeah, because they never think Michael Jordan missed a shot. He missed a free throw. He never made a mistake. And that's what happens when you put out a documentary and you have creative control over it. Because you get to edit out all the mistakes. Well, you got to see Dame Lillard live. He's human. He missed free throws as a high 80% free throw shooter. But you know what? He bounced back. And that's what happens. Very short memory. And the great ones have even the shortest of memories. And that's what he did. I love Dame Lillard. I love everything about him. He's tremendous. He's a top 10 player. I don't care what you say. And if he was in the East, he's the second best player, third at worst, behind Giannis, and then maybe you say Joel Embiid. But Skip, he was big time. He was they needed all 51. If he doesn't do what he does in the fourth quarter, they're losing that ball game.
So I will allow you to continue to stick your head in the sand about Damian Lillard, but I'm not going to.
Go ahead.
And what happened on Saturday afternoon/evening, depending on which time zone you're in, validated what I have been asking about Damian Lillard. Is he really that guy, cap T, cap G?
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
Does he really have super in front of star in front of his neck?
Absolutely.
I don't see it. And I haven't seen it when it really, really counted. And I don't think the Clippers had seen it either, because I got to tell you, they laughed at your man. They clowned your man when he missed the 2 free throws and then missed the tying 3 late in that game. They're over on the bench. They're tapping their imaginary watches. It's Dame time.
Right.
They're waving goodbye to him just the way he waved goodbye to Russell Westbrook and Paul George for that matter.
Don't leave out Paul. PG was there.
He was there. And they're waving goodbye to him. And the great irony of this is the Blazers are the team that the Clippers are rooting for to play your team, the Lakers, because it's obvious. It is painfully obvious that the Portland Trail Blazers have the best chance, at least on paper, of at least giving your guys a tussle in the first round of the playoffs.
Why wouldn't you want them then? Why wouldn't the Clippers? If the Clippers are what you say, why wouldn't you want them?
Why? They do want him.
No, they don't. They want the Portland Trail Blazers to play the Lakers.
Yeah.
I said if the Clippers are that team, why wouldn't they want the Blazers?
Well,
okay.
Well, the first round has to be the Lakers. Well, it could eliminate the Lakers if they're everything you say. You're in big trouble if they make it in the first round, and I'm still not sure they're going to actually get to the first round. Because what happened on Saturday evening, that's what you call a catbird seat game. That's a driver's seat game where you say, kaboom, this is ours. Game over, we got this. Yeah. Memphis, we're coming for you. Memphis obviously finally won a game to rise up to 1-5. But all of a sudden, it is a dogfight. It is a sprint to the finish because now, thanks to the superstar you call Damian Lillard, Portland in the bubble has lost 2 games. They lost one to the Celtics, in which they led by 1 with 2 minutes left. And Damian Lillard disappeared down the stretch of that game. And he missed the tying 3 with 53 seconds left in that game. It came early in the bubble, but the point was they had him, and then they didn't have him, because that guy has to be that guy down the stretch of these games in the bubble that are seed games. They should easily be 6-0 because they're that good.
No,
they got Nurkic back. They got Zach Collins back. And all of a sudden, they discovered a third scorer in Gary Trent Jr., who's got crazy courage to shoot whatever he wants to shoot. I'm starting to think he's the most dependable option down the stretch of these games.
Man, stop it.
So let me ask you something.
Yes.
Do you think the Los Angeles Clippers would have clowned Kevin Durant if he had missed 2 late free throws against them? No, because Kevin Durant was back-to-back finals MVPs. I'll ask you this. Do you think the Clippers would have laughed at LeBron James if he had missed 2 late free throws? Yeah. No.
Skip.
He's got 3 rings with 3 finals MVPs.
Skip.
No. You have to gain and earn their respect that he, Damian Lillard, has not.
Let me tell you how this works, Skip. If you have a signature move, if you do something in the NBA, you do this. Or kept Steph Curry with the shimmy. When they beat Steph Curry, they're shimmying. That's how it works in football. Whatever your move is in football, if your team beats you, what do they do? You remember in San Diego when the Patriots went down there and they beat the Chargers. And what were they doing in the middle of the field? The lights out. They were doing that, and everybody almost got into a fight. Skip, that's the way it works. If you have a signature move and I beat you, I'm going to do your dance.
Unless you're the champion and you're doing that and you're rubbing everybody else's nose in your sack dance or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, but San Diego had not won any championships. And they haven't won any championships, and now they're the Los Angeles Chargers, obviously. But the point is, when has Dame time proven to be the time? What has he won? They're just saying, Pat Bev's just rolling his eyes saying, what have you done?
But Skip, we know what Pat Bev is. He's an agitator. He's a provocateur. Stop this now.
Okay.
Don't be hyping Pat Bev. Don't be talking. He on the sidelines. How you talking on the sidelines?
Well, that was the point on Saturday. That's why they were clowning Damian Lillard, because obviously Kawhi did not play. Paul George did not play much of he played like 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, but did not play down the stretch. So here's the team Dame was losing to down the stretch. It featured Terrence Mann and Landry Shamet and JaMychal Green and Pat Patterson, and Rodney Magruder made the shot of the game, a big 3 that actually won the game late. That's your 5 out there on the floor to close the game against Dame time.
Right.
And the Clipper bench featuring starters, they're laughing at this guy because he's never been able to do this Dame time when it really, really mattered. See last year's conference finals. What did I remind you of last week? Damian Lillard last year in the conference finals against a Golden State without Kevin Durant. They were vulnerable, so it's basically 2-on-2. It's your 2 guards against my 2 guards. Steph and Clay against you and CJ. Dame, you got this? So they play 4 straight games, and they lose all 4 of them. They get swept. But let's see what the scores were after 3 quarters of those 4 games. They were down 1 in Game 1 at Oracle. They were tied in Game 2 at Oracle. Game 3, they were down 3 at home, down only 3. In Game 4, they were up 8 at home, and Damian Lillard disappeared all 4 quarters. So did CJ. You could even make a case CJ disappeared worse than Dame. But CJ's not doing this, and CJ's not doing this.
Right.
So just show me. It's what I keep saying about Damian. Just show me. Just do it. Shut me up. Because if you do it, I can't say anything.
So in other words, he needs to win a championship to shut you up.
Okay, well, let's say, show me 1 game of those 4 against the Golden State Warriors without Kevin Durant. And what does he do? Combined in those 4th quarters, and the last game went to overtime. He goes a grand total of 8 of 26 from the field. That's 31%. He makes 5 of 17 threes. That's 29%. And he's a minus 30 in those 4 quarters and that overtime. And in the 4th quarter of Game 4, he went 1 of 4 from 3, 2 of 8 from the field. And in the overtime, he went 1 of 3 from the field and 0 of 1 in overtime. It's Dame time, and there was no Dame. So again, these players know who can do it when the lights are the brightest.
Well, that's why they clowned him, Skip. If they would have never done that, if they thought he was a bum, they wouldn't have done that. But here's the thing. Let me address Pat Beverley, then I'm going to move on and get to some standard stuff. Pat Beverley is a guy that's in the car. There are 4 guys in the car. Pat Bev's in the back seat, and he's the one that's trying to holler at the chicks at the window. Bro, you're not driving. You're not in the passenger seat. So he's the 4th or 5th best player on the team, and he does more talking than anybody. So hopefully we can put this aside. Skip Bayless.
Time out. On Christmas Day, who blocked LeBron's tying 3? Well, who did? Was it the guy in the back seat, or was it Pat Beverley?
Skip. Like I said, he's an agitator. He's a provocateur. He's carved out a nice niche. But
he's a player.
Skip, stop trying to make him seem like
he's a dog.
Stop trying to make it seem like he's Gary Payton. Don't do that. Stop trying to make it seem like he's a top defender, Alvin Robertson or something.
The whole bench was laughing at Damian Lillard.
That doesn't change the fact that the man is great. You make it seem like Golden State were bums before Kevin Durant got there. They had gone to 2 finals appearances. Steph Curry was a 2-time MVP, one of those unanimous. They won 73 games before Kevin Durant went there. Kevin Durant went there for a reason. He didn't go to a team that had won 40 games the year before. He didn't go to a team that didn't have any MVPs. He joined that team for a reason.
Because they had lost to LeBron and Kyrie.
Skip.
That's why. He joined it for that reason, and then he rose above that team to become by far the best player when it counted.
The team that
he was back-to-back Finals MVP.
The team that lost to Kyrie when they were up 3-1 is the same team that beat Kevin Durant when he had them down 3-1. So what does that say about him? But that's not about, we're not talking about Kevin Durant.
Well, you brought it up.
You did.
Kevin Durant went into LeBron's house in back-to-back game 3s and said, watch this, LeBron. I'll make it right in your face. He took both those games over, and he was the Finals back-to-back MVP, and I will forever be in awe of those 2 achievements.
Skip, Kevin Durant did what he did. I'm not debating Kevin Durant's talent, but for you to say Dame Lillard is not a top player because he missed 2 free throws.
You just have to do it when it counts.
Skip,
you got to show me one. Show me one.
What about Oklahoma City in the playoffs last year? Did he do that?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so he showed you. What about the Houston Rockets? When he knocked them out, did he do that?
That was he's won 4 out of 10 playoff series. He's lost 6.
Okay,
he's gotten swept 3 times. Has he gotten to the finals? I'm not going to put a superstar in front. Michael Jordan went 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs. Game over. Stop it.
No, we're not going to stop. Let me talk. Let me have my turn to talk. You want to talk all this time. 84 through 90. How many times did Michael Jordan get to the finals? So he wasn't a superstar, is what you're telling me.
No.
Because you told me unless you win the finals, you're not a superstar. So from 84 to 90, Michael Jordan was a superstar because he got swept by the Celtics twice and he got won 1 game off the Bucks. So is that what you're telling me? Because you can't move the goalpost for Michael Jordan. And
what did he do as a true freshman in the national championship game?
Oh, my God.
Has Damian ever done that? I just want to see one.
Carmelo did.
I want to see one.
Anthony Davis did.
All right, good.
But hold on. They were most outstanding players.
Okay.
He had big games.
That's why people won't laugh at them when they miss late free throws.
Skip.
They're laughing at him, and you're wrong, and you know it.
Skip.
And look, here's what happens.
What did the Pistons say? Y'all got a 1-man game, so while he hanging in the air, we winning titles. What did the Pistons say about Michael Jordan?
Please don't put Damian Lillard and Michael Jordan.
Skip, that's what you always try to do.
It's just outrageous.
You try to say,
it's just blasphemy.
Skip, what you're trying to do, you're trying to say, Shannon, you're trying to equate Dame Lillard.
Are you? Are you? You seem to keep bringing up Michael Jordan like he belongs in the same company.
All I'm saying is, Skip, you make it seem like Michael Jordan got straight to the NBA and started winning titles. He had to endure hardships. He got swept twice. He won 1 game off the Milwaukee.
And Larry Bird said that was God in sneakers.
It does not matter.
God in sneakers. He had terrible teams around him. Terrible supporting cast.
So now he's terrible. So now he's terrible. But hold on. You said he was winning.
And by the way, when he was God in sneakers, he missed the whole year and came back off a broken leg to play in the first round of the playoffs.
So now we make excuses.
Now we make ridiculous. He's the greatest player in the history of all sports.
You see what you do?
Okay, let's get back to Damian Lillard.
Dame Lillard.
Okay, what did he do last night? He was really good. He scored 51 points because he smelled blood, because Ben Simmons is gone. Joel Embiid was gone after 6 minutes of that game. They had no rim protectors. It was a super highway to the basket, and he got free once late for a down-the-lane dunk.
Yeah.
And I'm saying he is sure lucky that Joel Embiid isn't there. And by the way, they had a 16-point lead in this game, and it goes to the last shot. And Josh Richardson had a hot hand, and he got a clean shot off, and he missed it, or we'd be having a different conversation right now.
The difference is when you look at Portland, and you would think they would be better, but they're the third worst defensive team in the bubble. So they got tremendous offense, but they don't have very good defense. But Skip, that's not to knock Dame. You're talking about Dame like he's just a guy. Dame is.
I didn't say he's just a guy. We're talking about superstar.
That's what
the guy who can take over games and close deals in the bubble. These are seeding games.
So in other words,
they're trying to just get to Memphis. And you know what? They're now in danger of, it feels like the best they're going to get is the 9 seed. That means they're going to have to fight through Memphis twice.
No.
They're going to have to beat them twice to get into the tournament.
Are you sure Memphis is going to be in that spot?
I don't know.
But
I don't know. Are you sure? Look at who's left and who they're playing. I mean, are you sure Portland's going to be there? They got to play Dallas and a very dangerous Brooklyn team in the last game.
Dame Lillard said, all I want is an opportunity. I want myself and my team to have an opportunity to advance into the playoffs. If we got an opportunity, I'll take my chances. That's all he ever said he wanted. Now, we mistook him, said, well, if I ain't got nothing to play for, and I'm like, and I was to blame for that too, because I thought he was saying, well, I don't just want to go down there and play and then come home. But he says if we have a realistic chance, and when they structured it, they said, look, if you're the 9th seed and you're within 4 of the 8, you'll have a play-in game. You win, you play another game, and we'll move from there. But Skip, what he's been able to do, this is his 5th 50-point game this season. You saw what he did against the Lakers on that Friday night, and yes, they were dealing with the Kobe situation. But more times than not, Dame Lillard has come through with flying colors. We can't say because we saw one time he did not deliver to say, all of a sudden, Dame Lillard is not that guy.
They went to the bubble, what, like 8 games under 500?
Yes.
He was talking about, I don't want to go to the bubble if we don't have a chance.
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
And we talked about it?
Yes.
And you were critical of it?
I was very critical.
Okay.
Because for me, Skip, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, get to the 8th spot. You know, you win your games. Memphis lose a couple of games, and you straight. You can't say, well, we don't got a chance because you had a chance, the same chance that Memphis and some of those other teams that were in front of you. But Skip, he's been unbelievable. Gary Trent Jr., he finally came back to earth because he had a cold hand. Skip, he was shooting 60%, over 60% from the 3. And yesterday he's 2 or 8. I mean, 2 or 8 shooting, 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. Skip, you know what they feel like to me? They really feel like an NCAA team that got hot. You know what I'm saying, Skip? And how long can they ride?
Who does?
Portland.
Oh.
How long can they ride that?
Really?
Yeah.
So you think they're just like a fraud?
No, Skip.
Like a blip?
Skip, we just saw Steph Curry take a team to the Elite 8. Never heard anything about it. So you got a hot guy, you can ride it. We've seen teams come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they're the 5 seed or they're a 12 seed, and they go boom, 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 and next thing you know, they're in the Final Four. So that's what I'm saying. They strike me as a team that gets streaky hot, and they can light you up and shoot you at the gym. But they don't play defense. And I don't know why, because they got Nurkic. How Whiteside doesn't seem to be able to get off the bench anymore, Skip. But when you look at them, you're like, they should be better than this. You got Dame and CJ All-Stars. Carmelo Anthony hit some big shots yesterday, Skip. He had the highest plus-minus. He's been playing unbelievable for him. And Nurkic come off, and he's a big rim protector, Zach Collins. And I'm like, this game, and I'm saying the exact same thing you're saying. This game shouldn't be this close without Embiid, without Ben Simmons. What the hell is going on? And you had a big lead. And the next thing you know, you getting layup, you get given up uncontested threes, and the Sixers are right back in the game. Not only they're back in the game, they have a lead. But Dame Lillard, 3, 5, a 4-point play, layup, dunk. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to let this one. I let one slip away yesterday, but I promise you this one will not get away today.
This team is way better than some Valpo or Cleveland State coming out of nowhere. This team has talent.
Skip.
Once it got the 2 big guys back and Whiteside can come in, all he was doing is leading the whole league in blocks.
But Skip, he can't get off. He doesn't seem to be able to get off the bench. He wasn't even dressed yesterday. He didn't even dress.
We'll see what happens when the playoffs start.
But
they have enough talent to give the Lakers a real run for that first round.
They got enough talent to give anybody a problem. You got an all-star in Dame. You got an all-NBA player. CJ is an all-star. So you look at Nurkic. Yes, Skip, they got Whiteside, who can easily, if he plays hard, the game in and game out, can be a defensive player of the year. They have talent. They have Melo, who's been an all-star, an all-NBA player. So, yes, they have talent. But, Skip, for some reason, when they went down to the bubble, they only had 30-something wins. Mm-hmm. So that's what they say. We can say, oh, yeah, this team got talent.
They didn't have Nurkic or Zach Collins all year, and they hadn't found Gary Trent Jr. yet.
We can say, and how many times have we said this team should be ranked higher than an 8 seed, or this team, but at the end of the day, Dame Lillard could carry this team. He's that good. That's where you and I disagree. Dame Lillard is that good. He can carry a team for a round or two. He can do that.
But he hasn't all year.
What do you mean?
Well, he had 30-something wins, so it's not like he's just lifting it up by himself, right?
No, Skip. You just hold on just a second. I said they remind you of an NCAA team, and you say they're better than some Valpo. Now you just turn around and say they got 30-something wins.
They just got 3 guys back that like Gary Trent Jr. had been doing next to nothing all year. He'd been playing some minutes. Now he's playing 35 minutes a game.
Right.
And he's making the big shots, and they should have let him take and make some bigger shots.
So you're going to put the ball in his hand instead of Dame?
Maybe.
Really, Skip?
Well, really.
Really?
So here's my issue with Damian Lillard. To me, the media loves him so much because he is so accommodating. He is so accessible to the media. He'll talk as long as they want to ask him questions, and he's smart enough to buy insurance with the media. This has been going on for a long time, where he is so open, it happens. It's how the game gets played.
Skip,
the media loves him, and they give him passes for these things.
First of all, Skip, he's up in the Northwest. Can you imagine if he was in L.A.? Doing what he's doing? If he's in New York, doing what he's doing? If he's in Boston, doing what he's doing? If he's in Chicago, you talking about the media loves him? Hell, they barely know he's up there in Portland.
That's not true.
Skip, stop it.
The world has shrunk with the internet. It doesn't matter anymore.
Can you imagine?
I mean, wait a second. Katie and Russ were in Oklahoma City, where I grew up, my hometown. I can't even believe they have a pro team in town. And they do. And those 2 guys were huge superstars out of Oklahoma City. It can happen. Portland's in the United States.
It is, but imagine if he was doing what he's doing in one of these major markets. Can you imagine what he was doing?
I can imagine the heat that would be on him if he missed late free throws.
Skip, the heat's going to be on him because he's a superstar. That's just the way it works. Just like the heat was on LeBron if he's in Cleveland. There are some guys, but you have to realize Dame is out of Weber State. So he didn't come, yes, he was a top draft pick, but he didn't come with those accomplished credentials. He didn't come like, oh, that's going to be the guy. Everybody that said, and that's easy to say now, oh, I knew Dame. No, you didn't. No, you did not know Dame was going to do that. Just like everybody said, Skip, you go on the internet and everybody said, oh, I knew T.J. Warren was a walking bucket. Well, why in the hell he wasn't the first pick in the draft? If he could do that, you think
mid-first round.
But Skip, if Phoenix thought T.J. Warren could play like he's playing in the bubble, you think they trade him? Just like OKC, they would have maxed out James Harden if they thought he was going to average 35. They'd say, okay, we're going to luxury tax, but you going to give us 35?
That's not true. They had a chance to do that, and the ownership said that's too rich for our blood. The owners, Clay Bennett and company, said no to that.
If they thought James Harden was going to give them 35 a night down the road, they wouldn't have maxed him out.
I think they thought he was going to be a star, big star.
No, not star. Skip, he's 2-time super. I'm saying 35. Nobody saw that, Skip. Nobody saw what James Harden is doing. Nobody saw that. No, sir.
Boy, I don't know. He shot my Spurs right out of the conference finals that
year? The man's
about to average shooting daggers from everywhere.
He averaged 36 and about to average 34 and a half a game.
Okay. Every time he walked on the court that playoff series, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm dead.
Skip, you
2012.
You know what you sounded like? You sounded like the people that say, I knew Michael Jordan was going to do that coming out of Dean Smith's system.
Nobody saw that.
That's my point.
Okay, but that was Dean Smith's fault.
That's my point.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.